ओम सर्वधर्मस्थापकस्त्वं सर्वधर्मस्वरूपकः आचार्याणां महाचार्यो रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. We are studying the 7th chapter of Sri Ramakrishna, the Great Master, as the spiritual teacher, first part, and the incident about Thakur's protecting Mathur's punyam even after his death. That is the topic going on. And we are midway between that topic. Some other points intervene, and we are reading para 25. Yes. In that, now it is about, no, where is that introduced that it is about the Falaharini Kali Puja? Oh, no. Right. What happened?
27.
No, 26 is over. 27 over. 28 over. 28 was going on, not 25. 28 was going on. So let us go back to the start of 28. On a special ceremonial occasion, the master used naturally to have a special bhav samadhi. Particular characteristics of particular deities used to be manifested in the master's body and mind on particular ceremonial occasions. On Vaishnava occasions, the characteristics of, one point. Yesterday, that 19 things had come, and Ashta Satvikika. And we saw that Sardhan Swamiji has mentioned 7 and said, etc. So I have found that 8th. Some reader has sent that list to me. So the 7 are correct, and the 8th is Vaivaranya. You can write if you like. I have written in my book both in the English and Bengali original. Vaivaranya. That means the body color becomes faded, pale color. Vaivaranya. So that is in the Sadhak Bhav. In the Sadhak Bhav, Thakur Sadhana Madhur Bhav, there the footnote is given. Here also 7 are mentioned. There also 7 only are mentioned by Saradananda. So The eighth is Vaivarnya. And the meaning of Vaivarnya is fading of the color of the body or paleness. Anyway, now we come back here. For example, on the occasion of the worship of the Sri Durga, especially at the time of the Jankar worship, they were explained yesterday, or during the worship of the Mother Kali, the master used to feel identified with the Mother of the Universe, so much so that he used to be motionless and sometimes his hands would assume the gestures like those of Kali, offering a boon and protection against all fears. Similarly, on ceremonial occasions like Janmashtami, the eight Sattvic Vaishnava signs, that is the Kamira, trembling, horripilation, etc. Here only two are mentioned and etc. In Sadhak Bhav, or seven are mentioned. We are seen in him so absorbed in the thoughts of Radha and Krishna, would he be on those days? Again, those spiritual moods used to come on him naturally, without any effort whatever. It was seen that just when on these occasions, he became quite engrossed in diverse conversations with us and completely forgot that they were days of special manifestations of God. His mind would suddenly withdraw from external matters and get identified completely with those aspects of the deity as if some external power forcibly made him do it. And that incident he has mentioned in other places, here only has referred to. At Shampukur in Calcutta, we have seen many similar instances, though he was down with cancer in those days. Once engrossed in conversation with a large number of men, including Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar, his homeopathic doctor, the master suddenly entered into such an ecstasy at the time of the Jankar worship of Sri Durga. Having then seen his luminous face, beaming with that splendor of smile, who would say that he had any illness or he was the same person with pale face, indicative of the suffering from illness seen a moment ago? Up to this we had read. Now come back to this Phalharini Kali Puja. There was a similar manifestation of a mood in the master's body and mind that day, the day of the worship of Phalharini. This I explained yesterday. Sometimes filled with bliss, he, like a boy of 5, danced and sang mother's name. All were charmed, gazing at the unprecedented beauty of his face. They were moreover experiencing in their hearts various wonderful divine emotions by virtue of the company of the God-man. God-man is Saradananda Swamiji's special expression. Nowadays, so many people call themselves God-men. What is God-man? In Sadhak Bhav, Saradananda Swamiji has explained that greatly. Dev Manav, not 50% God, 50% Manav. 10% God, 10% Manav. That means not only the body is man's body, the mind also is man's mind. But in that the consciousness is God's consciousness, fully. This he has explained in 3 chapters in the Sadhak Bhav. That expression is here, God-man. These days, any Tom, Dick and Harry may be having some charlatanry. They declare themselves as God-men. Or people start calling them God-men. Due to some miraculous power or sometimes no power. So, God-man actually, Thakur is God. Just now I've seen that without even knowing that, he exactly assumed that form on that day. Because he is God. He himself is Mother Kali, himself is Radhakanta, himself is Radha, himself is Krishna. Sarva Deva Devi Swarup, Swami Vivekananda called him. So, he is God. But his body is that of a man. Mind is like that of a man. So, God-man. So now in his company, people also were having some bhav inside. That emotion, what we have explained now, I need not repeat every time. Emotion is not a very happy word for that, but in the absence of a word, depth of feeling in the heart, that is the correct word. And actually in Bengali, the word may be bhav. Bhav is that spiritual, semi-divine experience. Relation with God is called bhav. And that relation becomes the main. That is called spiritual emotion here. देखो इन बंगाली से अदृष्ट पूर्व देव मानवेर संग गुणे मने कत प्रकार अपूर्व दिव्य भाव अनुभव करीते छे दिव्य भाव डिवाइन experiences the change of attitude bhav can also be said attitude so mind is there but filled with spiritual experience in bhav mind is there but filled with spiritual relation with God, spiritual experiences. That is called Divya Bhav. Thakur is Devmano. So in his company, those who are fit, those who are sadhas, those who are fit, they experience the rise of consciousness. And that rise of consciousness, some relationship with God comes. The experience of relationship with God, that is Divya Bhav. So understand the spiritual emotions. I dislike this word emotion today. But what other word you can say? You have to use this one sentence for that one word. Divine, what will you say? Divine, drop it. Spirit, okay. Spiritual relation with God. With God means divine. And it is higher consciousness. So spiritual relationship with God is experienced. That is the correct translation. Okay. By virtue of the company of the God-man. The night came almost to an end when mother's worship was finished. So nobody could take any rest. It was dawn. Actually, this worship does not last throughout the night. The main Kali Puja lasts throughout the night. Palarni Kali Puja, sometime after midnight is over. So here, night came almost to an end when mother's worship was finished. So nobody could take any rest. ठीक है. Oh, no, exact translation. একটু বিশ্রাম করিতে না করিতেই প্রভাত. People took rest, but they were just taking rest when it became dawn. What beautiful description is there in Bengali. You cannot translate that. What is your Marathi translation? Read that line, last line of the para. No, Marathi is the best translation. Oh, he is not finding the para. Let it go. Let it go. Raude. No, best is to hand over the book to me. Give me. अमर विसावतात न विसावतात तोच उजाडले. पूजा आटोपली तेव्हा रात्र जवळजवळ संपत आली होती. ठीक आहे. Meaning is this, they were taking rest. They just started taking rest, it became dawn. Little rest they took, but very little. That is the meaning. Now you see, when you go to bed, immediately you don't sleep. You are tossing here and there. By the time it became dawn. And they got up. Understood now meaning? Nobody could take any rest. Hardly they could take some rest, I would say. In English? In English, it would be hardly they could take any rest before it became dawn. No, the description is, there is some sukshmata, fineness. That does not come out. The next morning, at about 8 or 9, the master saw that the fruits, etc., offered to the deities that were to reach his room had not yet arrived. He called his nephew Ramlal, the priest of the Kali temple, and asked him the reason, but he could not say anything. All the offered articles, said he, have as usual been sent to the chief officer at his office. That was the custom. From there they will be distributed. They are being distributed from there, and everyone is getting the share he is entitled to according to the established custom. But I cannot say why it has not reached here even now. The master was uneasy, nay, troubled about it. He asked many persons one after another, why has Prasad not yet come from the office? And went on talking about it. He waited a little, but when he found that it has not reached him even then, he put on his slippers and himself went to the chief officer. He asked the officer, hello, how is it that the Prasad due to that room, showing his room, has not yet been sent to as usual? Has there been a mistake? It is wrong that such a long-standing arrangement should be upset through a mistake. The officer looked small and said, has it not yet reached there? It is very strong. I am just now sending it. 29th para. What Swami Yogananda thought when he saw the master thus demanding and receiving prasad. When we do not understand some action, we misunderstand because we imagine something. Swami Yogananda was then a boy. He was, of course, a little proud as he was born in the ancient and respectable family of Savarna Chaudharis. Savarna means belonging to higher caste, that's all. There may be Chaudharis in lower caste also. Chaudharis is a designation, some work, but they are Savarna Chaudharis. The chief official, other officers, priests, and others of the temple did not count at all in his estimation. They are all servants. But he had completely surrendered himself at the holy feet of the Master on account of the latter's disinterested grace and love. And his home being adjacent to Rasmani's garden, it was convenient for him to visit the Master daily. You know, an incident had happened before he knew Sri Ramakrishna. One day Sri Ramakrishna was traveling in the garden and Yogan Swami came and he thought he is a gardener. Sir, please give that flower to me. Thakur did not say anything. He took that flower and gave to him. Later on, he this Ramakrishna. So, Thakur's simplicity and Yogan Swami's this knowledge, non-knowledge. For the strange attraction of the Master took him by force, as it were, to him at the fixed time every day. Thakur's attraction took him by force at fixed time every day to his room. But was it possible for him to be familiar with the people of the temple only because he had respect for the Master? So when he found that the Master was anxious to know the reason why the fruits, roots and the like offered to the deities had not been sent, he blurted out, "What does it matter if they don't come? How precious the articles are. These things again never suit your stomach. You take nothing of these. Under such circumstances, is there any harm if they are not sent at all?" But the Master had not at all given ear to what he said and had gone in a short time to ask the chief officer for the reason. Before that, when he was anxiously asking this man, that man, Yoganand made this remark. Yogin then thought, Thakur has gone there. Yogin then thought, how strange, why is he so anxious today about those trifling fruits, roots and seeds? Why is he in this state of mind today, whom I never saw agitated under any circumstances? When after a good deal of reflection he could not find out any special reason whatever for it, he came at last to the conclusion, oh, I see it now. It is the family tradition that tells. Whether he be the Divine Lord himself or any other great personality, he is born in the family of priests, accustomed generation after generation to bundle rice and plantain. Will not a little at least of the tradition of that family cling to him? What can it be but that? He never feels uneasy about matters of great concern, but he has become so restless about this trifling matter. If that were not the fact, why is he so anxious for those things which he will not eat or otherwise use himself? It cannot but be the habit inherited from his ancestors. Even his ancestors were not like that. The Master gave the reason why he did so. Thakur used to know what is going on in somebody's mind and explain to him. Yogin, or as he was afterwards known, Swami Yogananda, had arrived finally at that conclusion when the Master returned. There is all thought going on when Thakur went to Khazanchi. Now Thakur has come back and said to him, do you know why I did so? Rasmani has bequeathed so much property that holy men and devotees may get prasad after the articles of food have been offered to the deity. It is the devotees coming here to know God, best devotees, who eat the articles offered to the deity. Thakur does not eat, Thakur gives to the devotees who come there. That answered the purpose of Rasmani's gift. But do you think what they, the priests of the temple, take away are utilized in the same way? They sell the rice for money. Some of them again keep prostitutes. They take these fruits, etc., and feed them. Thakur knows everything what is happening. I fight so much only in order that a little at least of Rasmani's intentions might be fulfilled. So even after death, that punya should go. Swami Vivekananda was surprised to hear it and thought, oh, such is the hidden meaning even of this act of the master. Deep meaning he has already told in the beginning. What a sweet relation the master thus established with Mathur. Now, this came about Rani, but the association is going on with Mathur. And Mathur had continued that arrangement. So the punya is gone to both Rani and Mathur. So this incident came. It is very clear that by virtue of the motiveless grace of the master, suppose there are some swamis, some God man, great man, no rich man offers something, then they bless him. So that is grace with a motive. Understand this point? The God man or so-called spiritual man is gracious to some special devotees. Thakur says, Ahetu ki kripa. By virtue of the motiveless grace of the master, Mathur's love was so intensified that father became his very life. Besides that, it was the behavior like that of a boy which attracted Mathur in no small measure. Who is there whose mind is not attracted towards a boy, inexperienced in everything of the world? Is there anyone who, being near him, does not keep an eye of concern on his sweet, motiveless moments and go forward to protect him, lest he should be harmed in the excitement of play? You understand this? It is very difficult for us to feel this because we see Thakur only as God, God and God. But Thakur's behavior as a child was so natural that those who are living with him, they would feel like this. Take the example of Yashoda and that ladies of the village. They knew Krishna is God. But, oh, he should not come to this harm, he should not come to that harm, like that they would do. And Saradananda Swami is a mastermind. Who is there whose mind is not attracted towards a boy, inexperienced in everything of the world? When somebody went first time, Thakur was coming out to the temple. Rakhal Maharaj was with him. And Rakhal, here there is a step, here there is this, here there is this, as they tell a small boy. Lest he should be harmed in the excitement of play. And again, there was not the slightest artificiality in the boy-like behavior of the man. Not that he is behaving like a boy. His attitude is like that because he is the child of the mother. When he was in that mood, he was felt to be a boy really incapable of protecting himself. Is it therefore strange that there naturally arose in the powerful, vigorous and intelligent Mathur an effort to protect him in all circumstances. Therefore, just as on the one hand, he depended on the master's divine power, so on the other hand, he always kept himself ready to protect father, whom he knew to be like an inexperienced boy. When Mathur saw that there was thus a strange juxtaposition in father of the all-knowing nature of the spiritual teacher and the little-knowing nature of a boy, he perhaps came to such a conclusion as this, that he would have to protect father as regards all worldly matters, including his personal safety, while father would protect him regarding subtle spiritual things lying beyond human vision and power. Because his behavior was like that. So Mathur came to this conclusion. We therefore see clearly that Mathur's love for father assumed an unintelligible nature. We cannot understand this. The strange father was a wonderful meeting ground of a very complex aggregate of contrary attributes, such as godhood and manhood, all-knowingness and little-knowingness. Although father established in Bhavamukh with his hands in the posture symbolic of bestowing boons and protection from fear, so he saw like that also. Rabbi was the chosen ideal of Mathur. The latter had, however, sometimes to divert and console the very father in his childlike mood, who was then an embodiment of simplicity and dependence. So about these moods, Narada explained that they have to be permanent, all-pervading in your life. Not only when I am thinking of mother, then I am child. But that child attitude has to pervade my life. And that is what we see in Thakur. How Mathur consoled the master by speaking of the worm generating lust. Some imagination. Eh? The love of Mathur for him endowed him with the power of providing plausible explanation for all the queries and doubts of the master father. Plausible means theoretically possible. One day, father went out suddenly when he was talking with Mathur and returned with a sad face. He then asked Mathur, "Will you please tell me what this disease is? I saw a worm going out from my body with the urine. Nobody, I am sure, has such worms within his body. What is it that has happened to me?" The very father who perhaps a little while ago was charming everybody with wonderful explanations of the hidden spiritual truths was now beside himself like a boy with causeless anxiety, depending wholly on Mathur's intelligence and words of assurance. No sooner had Mathur heard this than he said, "It is very good, father." Some explanation came to his mind. What had happened, we do not know. What insect or what had gone. It is very good, father, that it has happened so. Everyone has a worm that generates lust in his body. Calm kid. Never know, never heard, but it came to Mathur's mind. It is this lust worm that produces various bad thoughts in him and makes him commit evil action. No, that is not possible in Thakur. That lust worm has left your body by the grace of the mother. Why are you so uneasy about it? As soon as father heard it, he was consoled and said, "Ah, you are right. How lucky it was that I asked you." So the whole thing is only Mathur's ability to find some answer and Thakur like a child accepting. Saying so, he expressed his joy like a boy. The master spoke to Mathur on the coming of his inner circle devotees. That is another thing, imagination of Mathur. "You see," said father one day in the course of conversation to Mathur, "Mother has shown and convinced me that there are many devotees of mine who are to form an inner circle. এখানে মাইন্ড কে ডাইরেক্টলি বলা আছে? Because Thakur does not say I and mine, na? দেখ মাসব আমার দেখিয়ে দেখিয়ে বুঝিয়ে দিয়েছেন এখানকার সব ঢের অন্তরঙ্গ আছে of this place. That was Thakur's explanation. Here, this place, this body, like that he used to say. এখান থেকে ঈশ্বরী বিষয় জানবে, শুনবে, প্রত্যক্ষ করবে, প্রেম ভক্তি লাভ করবে। এক হোলটা দিয়ে মা অনেক খেলা খেলবে, অনেকের উপকার করবে, তাই এক হোলটা এখনো ভেঙে দেয়নি, রেখেছে। তুমি কি বলো? এসব কি মাথার ভুল না ঠিক দেখেছি বলে দেখি? Because it was not happened by that time, so the doubt comes whether it is my mental imagination. So, Mother has shown and convinced me that there are many devotees of mine. We say there are many devotees of this place, showing to his own body, who want to form an inner circle. They will all come and hear and know God from here, and will have direct knowledge of Him, realize Him, and be blessed with divine love and devotion. Mother will sport in various ways with this case and will do good to many. This is why she has not broken it and has kept it even now. So that is Thakur's explanation. In between this mind he is not suiting. Mother has shown and convinced me, this me is all right, that there are many devotees of mine. Here, many devotees of this place. What do you say? Are all these mere hallucinations of the brain or real and true perceptions? Please tell me that. Why father said, Mathur, should they be hallucinations? When mother has not shown you anything deceptive up to this time, why should this only be wrong? This also will prove to be true. But why is mere this delay in their coming? Why is? এখনো তারা সব দেরি করছে কেন? This mere world is strange. But why is there? Oh, mere, there has become a TH. But why is there this delay in their coming? Let them by all means come soon. Let us be happy with them. Father was also convinced that the Divine Mother had shown him true things. He then said, I don't know when they will come. Mother has said so. She has shown me that whatever is to happen by Mother's will happen. It ends here. Mathur had given some explanation. Is it not here in Leelaprasanga? No.
Mathur says that I myself.
When he saw that Thakur has become worried, he said, I am like hundreds of devotees.
Maybe another place.
So mother has told you this. And Thakur agreed to that also. Oh, maybe like that. Perhaps in Kathamrit we read that, no? It is there here. Marathi? No, no. But we have read this somewhere, and that is perhaps in the Gospel. Okay, here it is not given. Now, another example of simplicity and love of justice and truth in Thakur's mind. An example of the master's boy-like nature, the incident of plucking the green sushni. Sushni is a type of green, shak, what we call. One type is sushni. Rani Rasmani had no son, but had 4 daughters. Madhur Babu married the third and after her death the youngest daughter. The intelligent Rani fixed and marked in her lifetime the share of the estate for each of the sons-in-law, lest there should arise a dispute among them over the estate. One day after the estate had been thus divided, Mathur Babu's wife, or as she was known in the family, the third mistress. She was the fourth, but third had died and in her place she had come. So she became called the third mistress. Or as she was known in the family, the third mistress went to bathe in a pond in another share of the estate. Saw a luxuriant growth of the green sushni there, plucked some and brought it away with her. It was the master only who saw her to do it. As soon as he saw her doing that, he was extremely worried. The third mistress thought the master has taken another's property without asking her for it. It is immoral. She did not think it an act of theft to take another's property without her knowledge. And again, why should she covet another's property? He was thinking thus when he met the daughter of the Rani to whose share the said pond had fallen. The master narrated to her immediately the whole incident. She could not control her laughter at hearing it. And seeing the serious mood of the master, as if the third mistress had acted very wrongly, she said humorously, the third mistress acted very wrongly, father. Just at that time, the third mistress also happened to come there. She also said jokingly when she knew the reason of her sister's laugh, Father, is it proper for you to expose me? I stole the grain and secretly took it away, lest she should see it. You have thus put me out of countenance. Saying so, the two sisters raised a roar of laughter. The master then said, I don't know your worldly ways. But when the property has been divided, it is not good to take anything without the knowledge of the owner. That strict sense of truth, morality, justice, along with the children's power. Their sister, there is not that he won't think. This is why I told her all this, so that she might know it and settle matters as she liked. The daughters of the Rani began to laugh all the more at his words and thought how frank and knave father was. Very simple in the mind. Mathur took refuge in the master in times of worldly dangers. An example. He has hinted it somewhere. Now he gives the detail. In one paragraph, he had, in short, told many incidents, and then one by one he is describing. On the one hand, father had such a childlike nature depending on Mathur. On the other hand, when there was a fight with cudgels between two parties and there was a murder committed at the orders of Mathur during a quarrel with another landlord, and Mathur was in great danger and came and said importunately, Save me, father. Father grew angry at first and scolded Mathur much. You wretch, said he, No Babu and all that is gone. Huh? You rest steady, you will create an affair every day and come and say, save me. What can I do? You wretch, go and suffer the consequences. What do I know? Then on account of his importunities, he said, well, whatever is to happen by mother's will happen. And as a matter of fact, that danger passed away. An example of the miserly Mathur's ungrudging expenditure of money. Miserly by nature. But in Thakur's case, sending without any consideration. Example. Many are the examples that can be given of both kinds of characteristics of the master. Having had these experiences, Mathur was firmly convinced that by the grace of the multiform Father, Baurupi, it was that he possessed whatever he had, Mathur possessed, namely wealth, respect, power, and everything. Therefore, there is nothing to be surprised at in the royal honor that Mathur paid to the master as an incarnation of God, and unflinching devotion to and steadfast faith in him. The extent of worldly men's devotion is gauged by the amount of money they spend for the objects of their devotion. That is how we know how much. Besides, Mathur was a little miserly, as clever, calculating, and intelligent worldly people generally are. But it is very clear that Mathur's faith and devotion were indeed sincere when he saw how unstintedly he spent money on Father. That shall also we already heard. Mathur once dressed him in beautiful attire and seated him to witness a yatra performance. What is this yatra performance? This non-Bengalis have to understand. What is yatra? No idea? Open air religious drama. Open air religious drama is called yatra. Yatra is not travel. Yatra in Bengali means open air on a stage, open stage. No pardas, no screens, this or that. And some religious drama they will play. That is called yatra. If you are interested next year, if Corona is not there, Kashipur on 1st January, they stage some yatra. It is quite common. In such a yatra only Thakur had become Shiva. Yatra performance, placing before him full 100 rupees or more in stacks of 10 rupees each for him to give as reward to the singers and actors. His payment was 7 rupees per month. But he dressed him like a king and kept 100 rupees with him, 10 rupees, 10 each. Father went on listening to the yatra, and when he experienced deep spiritual emotions or was charmed with some captivating songs or speech of an actor, he immediately pushed the entire sum of money with his hand toward the person concerned. He did not touch and lift it. That cloth itself he shifted like that. So all 100 rupees gone. And rewarded him with that. Mathura was not at all annoyed at it. He expressed his joy, saying, a reward just befitting the high mind of the Father. He placed stacks of coins over again in similar rows before him. How long could that money last with Father, who had become established in Bhavamukh and had always been absolutely free from covetousness, owing to his conviction, money is earth, earth is money. But Thakur, 100 rupees or 10 rupees, no help. Beside himself with the overwhelming inebriation of the divine emotion, he would give away once more the whole amount at once. Afterwards, finding no money near him, he took off the shawl from his person and the highly precious cloth put on by him and gave them away and remained motionless in samadhi, in the garment of divine consciousness only. You understand? Stark naked. Mathura dressed him in silken cloths, shawl. Shawl he gave. That silken cloth he took away and gave. And so he remained motionless in samadhi in the garment of divine consciousness only. Divine consciousness is the garment. Togambarova, Pidigambarova, all that thing is there. Mathur, filled with bliss, thought that his money had been put to its proper use and began to fan him. Other illustrations. Many are the examples of the liberality of the miserly Mathur in connection with the master's strange. Miser on one side and for Thakuranidhi. He took the master with him when he made his pilgrimage to Kashi, Vrindavan, and other holy places. At Kashi, he obeyed his words and, like a wish-fulfilling tree, made free gifts. He gave to everyone whatever necessary articles were asked for. He requested the master to ask for something at that time, but the latter could find nothing of which he was in need. He said, "Give me a water pot, Commander." Mathur's eyes were wet with tears to see spirit of detachment. Thakur, something Mathur wanted him to take to a sadhu sign his Commander. একটি কমান্ডার দাও। Mathur served the poor at Vaidyanath at the wish of the master. The master's heart was filled with compassion to see the poverty and misery of village people when going through a village near Vaidyanath. What is Vaidyanath? You know other word? Devghar. What is the meaning of Devghar? God's house. Vaidyanath is the Shiva there. Shiva's name is Vaidyanath. And because he lives there, it is God's house. So two names for the same place. Our football ground, there are 10, 11 football grounds. Our residential high school is there. And for class 4, class 5, different small or big playgrounds. So in the main playground, there is a rock, little elevated. But if you step on that, you can see the Mandir Chuda. So the name there is Darshani Pahadi. And boys many. While going here and there, they'll just put a foot there, look like that and salute. Anyway, so that is Baba Vaidyanath. The master had going through a village near Vaidyanath at the time of his pilgrimage near Vaidyanath. They were going by boat. You are said to Mathur, but a manager of Mother's estate. Give these people sufficient oil to cool their heads and a piece of cloth to each and feed them to their fill once. Feed them to cook, fill stomach, one time food, cloth and oil. At first, Mathur was a little hesitant and said, "Father, the pilgrimage will require much money, and there I find many. I may later be in want of money if I begin to. They are going to Kashi on the way." I may be later in want of money if I begin to do all that. What do you advise under these circumstances? But who gave ear to it? There was an incessant flow of tears from the master's side to see the misery of the villagers, and his heart is filled with an unprecedented compassion. You wretch, I will not go to your Kashi. I will remain here with them. They have none to call their own. I will not leave them behind and go. Saying so, he became obstinate like a boy and went and sat down among the poor people. Seeing such compassion in the master, Mathur had cloth brought from Calcutta and did as father asked him to do. Beside himself with joy to see the villagers happy, father also bade goodbye to them and started gladly with Mathur on his journey to Kashi. We are told that the master went on another occasion with Mathur to a certain village in his estate near Ranaghat, where he was seized with a similar compassion to see the miserable plight of the villagers, and he made Mathur do likewise once again there. The relation of the master with Mathur was determined by providence. The master spoke of Mathur's next birth as he had a desire for enjoyment. His bhakti had become desireless bhakti, but his mind had not become desireless. Identified with the divine consciousness and power as the spiritual teacher, the master bound Mathur to himself forever in a sweet relationship. Such unprecedented relation with Mathurnath was the mature result of the master's prayer to the Divine Mother at one time during his sadhana. Under the influence of a sudden strange mood, he had prayed, Mother, do not make me an austere sadhu. Keep me enjoying the necessities of life. You understand this? Thakur does not want enjoyment. What is the dry sadhu? Vedanti people, they emphasize only Nirguna Brahma. Remain in Samadhi, that's all. But Thakur knows Brahman to be Nirguna and Sagun both. So that Sagun aspect of God is called Rasa, joy to all. God himself is called Rasa Vaisa in the Upanishad. The source of all Anandam is God. And Thakur's prayer is Rashe Boshe Thakbo. Rashe Boshe Thakbo. Literally, he'll say, I will remain in that pak, that liquid of Rasgulla. That is not the meaning. Meaning is that I will be with Saguna Brahma. Brahma. He has to remain in the world. If he has to remain in the world, the body has to be taken care of. He has to eat food, he has to put on clothes. Understood? He is not enjoying. Do not make me an austere sadhu. Keep me enjoying. No. Quoting this, we should not run after enjoyment. For as the result of that prayer, the Divine Mother showed him 4 persons, the suppliers of provisions, Rasadar. Rasad means when the military fights, somebody has to provide food for them. That is called Rasad. So Mother showed him 4 people are there who will supply you with necessities, who had been sent with him into the world for the maintenance of his body by providing for the necessities of his life. And Mathura Nath was the first and foremost of them. Could this relation remain unimpaired for so long a time if it had not been determined by providence? Alas, O world, how many such pure and sweet relations have you seen so far? And alas, suddenly it turns round. And alas, O desire for enjoyment, with what an adamantine chain have you bound man? Although we have seen and established our relationship with such a wonderful master of a pure, awakened and free nature, a veritable image of selfless love, our minds even now cast a longing, lingering look at lower objects. While one day a friend was listening attentively and with amazement to the story of Mathuranath from the master himself, thinking of Mathu's great good fortune, the friend asked him, "What has happened to him, sir, after death? It is certain he will not have to be born again." Questioned so, the master answered, "He must have taken birth as a king somewhere, for he had the desire for enjoyment." Saying so, immediately started another topic. He did not want to discuss it further. But he knows the desire will be born like a king. There is some time has gone. Anyway, there is an announcement, please. Tomorrow is Saraswati Puja. We have a holiday for the class. And day after is Sunday. So now we take up the 8th chapter on Monday. Tomorrow, due to Saraswati Puja, we will have a holiday. Om Sarvadharma Sthapakasvam Sarvadharma Swarupakaha Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.